Hello everyone and no one, and welcome back to another Mostly Functioning Idiot review. Today we got the OA Defense 2311 Compact Pro. She's got over 1,000 rounds through her. Since I went through and did what I was supposed to do, the optic plate has been sound. Even the optic's been pretty sound. And that. Now, one of the big problems I did have with this, and I honestly think it was because I had the remanufactured ammo, was the fact that, well, I think the remanufactured ammo was just dirtier because it did get to the point to where it would get a little sticky. I probably should have went through and did like a basic field cleaning or just threw some more lube on there. Because the only times I was really having problems was the failure to feed occasionally, and it was always on a fresh mag with 15 rounds on it for just the first round. Usually whenever I was using the slide release. I did throw the light on here, just one of the ones that I have that I think is pretty nice for a rechargeable, mostly because it added a little weight to the front, even though it does have the little shelf right here to grab into. One of the other issues is this spot still here is a bit of a sharp point. And the other thing, if you're going to be putting a lot of rounds through one of these guns, they do get warm. They do get warm pretty quickly. Otherwise, it was extremely accurate. It does have the extended mag release, and they are a bit pricey. I mean, you can, if you watch the Board Boy optic of the O sight, thing was doing well. The gun ran with 124 grain, and that I do think the grip is a little small. Unfortunately, they don't have as much texture as I actually would like and have become kind of accustomed to on some guns. So I did have to throw the grip tape on here because back here gets super slick. I mean, at least they do have the grip up here, but the screw itself isn't textured like some companies have done, so that can be a little bit of a slipping point for your palm when you're actually going to get that good full grip on there. Otherwise, safeties were definitely positive, easy to manipulate. Even, granted, I didn't shoot it left-handed, but my left hand's kind of dumb. And it does indeed have a excellent trigger. So to go through and kind of show that, yeah, that slide, I should have cleaned this thing. But to go through and not much of a wall to go into it. Barely any take up for the reset, pretty audible, and just a overall short trigger. So to look into this, why would you go with an OA Defense 2311? Not much of a reason other than you're wanting something that's single fire, and you don't, or single fire, a single action only, but isn't basically like a CZ, a Beretta, or double stack 1911 of sorts. And usually it's you've already got a 320 that you probably don't trust, so you just want to be able to still use those mags. Now, since before I had even bought this, SIG had come out with their P211, which I would have looked into, but it doesn't take the 15 round compact mags, which this is one of the 10 rounders I have, because I was dumb when I bought the mags because they had my local gun store at its old location had two of these for like 12 or 15 bucks a piece. So I picked them up and didn't realize they were the 10 rounders. I may eventually go through and try to drill out the little dimples to see if I can turn them back into full 15 rounders, but the 10 rounders aren't bad. So the whole thing is again, if you have a SIG 320 that you don't want to sell because you don't want it to go to someone else and plausibly, well, discharge on its own on somebody else, potentially hurting someone else, so you're just going to shelf it or safe clean it to, make sure it can never do anything, or you just don't want to get rid of it because you still like it and want the collection of it. This is an option to go with. They do have the full-size grip. Again, if you're looking to use the 320 mags, there's this. There's the SIG P211. There's also the Stealth Arms Platypus that accepts the P320 mags. The only difference is that it doesn't have any other options. Pretty much you can't customize it like you could with the Glock mags. Now they do make these that are also not ported, plus they have the 5-inch barrel ported and unported. They also have a compact Pro Elite, but it only accepts the 17 round mag. So I was pretty much limited to the ported or not ported. I wanted to try a ported gun, and the thing frickin' shoots. The only real big downside that I've seen, in my opinion, is that one, like a lot of single action pistols, you do need to keep them pretty well lubed and use decent ammunition on them, because it still did ran. I forgot that I did have some failure to ignites, but I'm blaming that on the ammo, considering the fact that it was remanufactured ammo that I had gotten off Gunbroker, because that's one of the cheapest places to get a lot of bulk ammo, at least from what I've done for research, because I haven't done a lot. Other than that, like I said, the gun will get hot if you're putting a lot of rounds through it. Another downside is these don't really have a lot of holster compatibility. There are some that are making them for it, but there's not a lot, since this is more of a boutique manufacturer. But if you're looking for something to have like that, and you're not just looking at getting a Glock because, well, for some odd reason you don't want to get a Glock because, you know, they do work. They're just not the greatest thing ever, but they are a good quality gun for the most part. I think some of the Gen 6's triggers have been having not as good feeling issues. Can't really think of anything else to go with this one right offhand, but it is a nice gun. Oh, the new models, if you're getting a 2026 model or newer, only come available with the RMR plate, contrarily to like how the originals did, where it was the RMR, RMSC, and Delta Point Pro. Now, I can't remember, because I don't feel like taking the optic off this one currently, but I want to say it still can do the Holosun, but 407, 507Ks, but I could be wrong. And then the other problem is, if you decide you're going to go with like the Delta Point Pro or the RMR, you do have to change the front sight. But if you go with one of the new ones from the manufacturer, they actually do have the RMR with the front sight, so you can still co-witness. Otherwise, yeah, not much to go with it. It's a good little gun. If you're going with like regular factory ammunition, I don't foresee you having a problem with it. And the frickin' thing was accurate. Oh, another thing, it does come with the original irons. I can't remember the rear sight. I think they were just blacked out, but they could have been night sight. The front sights are all night sights, so that is nice on there. All of them, unless you have or decide you want to order the Acro plate for it, because I don't think they do a 509 TAC-T for it for the Holosun. All of the regular ones except for the Acro have the little front sight, so you at least have some backup irons in case something happens. But yeah, she did run 1,000 rounds, was a little dirty, did have a little hiccups, like I said, on the failure to feeds, but it was always on a fresh mag. I can't remember which mag specifically, because it did come with the 15 round P mags. That is another thing. All of these come usually with 5 mags, whether it be your California compliant or 10 round compliant mags. The compacts come with the 15 round P mags. They're metal mags though. And the full size comes either with the 17, I think it's usually like 3, 17, and 220 rounders, but I don't know for the full size. But otherwise, fun little gun. You could definitely carry it. As always, you could definitely do worse for a gun, but there is also better. But yeah, otherwise, other than a few issues, which I think mostly was just dirty from, like I said, the remanufactured ammo, the thing just ran. When I first ran it for like the 240 rounds I put through it, I didn't even do any oiling up from the box, and it was just regular 115 grain range rounds that I found, and just it freaking ate everything like a champ. I didn't put any steel rounds through it because I don't have any. Didn't find any aluminum. Another thing is, if you do go with the ported ones, you do want to be careful at what ammo you put through it. You don't want to put any of the plated ammo, because it will slowly shear off into the ports. If you know porting, you know that already, but for those who may not know, it's a thing. In case you decide you're going to have one of your guns that you already own ported because you just want to do that, or you get a second slide for your Glock or something that's ported, No, but it does reduce the recoil a little bit. I couldn't really tell enough. I'm not that enough in the know, and I shouldn't say in the know, but gone through training to really tell if it was reducing the recoil a lot. I mean, if anything, I think what I'm probably going to do is try to see if I can go online and plausibly see if I can get a different grip for it, or look at potentially eventually send it somewhere to have something else put onto it, or stipple job put into it. That, or I might just look at straight up like handle it grips or something for actual grip texture instead of this, because while this kind of works, it didn't work the greatest. It's definitely better than it was, but it's not as good as it could be. That's probably like my biggest gripe with the OA Defense, is it just doesn't seem to have enough texture for it, especially when you compare it to some other guns. But overall, it is a pretty dang good quality gun for what it is. And if you're just going to use it as like a range toy, you really could, like I said, you could do worse. You could obviously do better. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go with for now. Thanks for watching. And if you can be legally armed, stay legally armed, and have a good one, folks.